And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Hello and welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, November 23rd, 2024. I have a lot to talk about this evening, so we're going to jump right into it. As far as what we're taking a look here, there's an area of low pressure and a frontal system coming in off the Bering Sea into the west side of the state with accumulating snow and a light icy mix of precipitation. And all that moisture and milder air is going to be trying to work its way eastward through the interior late this weekend and early next week, and they'll be mainly in the form of some accumulating snow. There are winter weather advisories in effect along the west coast, as well as extending into areas of the interior. And it looks like, too, the potential exists for early next week, late Monday night into Tuesday evening, the possibility of some heavier snowfall around the icy Strait corridor into Juneau. They are down into the north central areas of the Panhandle, as some of this colder air that's in place over the Panhandle right now is going to encounter moisture coming in from the north and west. Otherwise, once these systems move on out, it's looking like we'll have rather fair and colder weather across much of the mainland for Thanksgiving, especially Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. So looking at the far north, up here Shishmaref on the north side of the Seward Peninsula, there is a winter weather advisory. Some light snow and fog happening there now, 26 degrees. Maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow on the way there for Shishmaref. Chivak along the lower Yukon Delta, a light mix of precipitation and fog, 34. Not looking at much in the way of snow there, but there could be a little bit of light freezing rain, sleet, or just mainly plain old rain with temperatures hovering right around or just above freezing. Palmer on this Saturday afternoon, partly cloudy, 18 degrees. Now, as this moisture comes in over the Alaska range, there's going to be a diminishing front pass through late Sunday night and Monday. That's going to bring accumulating snow to the Matsu Valley and Anchorage Bowl, maybe at least 2-4 inches of snow, a little bit higher amounts in a few spots, especially like, say, Hatcher Pass. But some snow is on the way. And then Hoonah enjoying clear skies, 34 degrees. Again, Hoonah is part of that icy Strait corridor that's under the winter storm watch for some heavier snowfall expected late Monday night through the day Tuesday into Tuesday evening. And then just an update about what's going on in terms of aurora viewing or things in the sky. There are two big sunspot groups that are emerging now on the southeast limb of the sun. So they could become a potential source of some stronger solar flares next week. So just kind of keep your eyes peeled because we have a couple things working in our favor for seeing the northern lights, especially later next week around Thanksgiving. Generally, a fair and colder weather pattern is expected to set up across much of the mainland Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and new moon occurs Saturday at the end of the month on November 30th. So skies will be good and dark with no moonlight for the northern lights to compete with. Well, looking at what we have for hazardous weather, we start out with the winter weather advisories. These along the Seward coastline and then all along Norton Sound and including the lower Yukon areas and as well as the lower Kuskokwim. This area here is mainly for the potential of a light icy mix. There is going to be some snow move through that could generally be more of a light icy mix, already some fog in these areas. And then along the coastline, again, a light icy mix possible around Norton Sound. Further north, Shishmaref, Wales, mainly some snow. And then this area in blue, special weather statement, we're still looking at the potential for some moderate snowfall over, say, 2-day period. There could be anywhere from 4 to locally as much as 10-12 inches, especially in some of these favorable upslope areas there around Ambler, down into the middle Yukon Valley west of Tanana. But Tanana, Lake Minchumina, all north of Fairbanks, through Fairbanks, the White Mountains, that is for 4 to 8 inches of snow as we get through Sunday evening into Monday, early Tuesday morning. And then out here we have winter storm watch for late Monday night, Tuesday into Tuesday evening, because secondary low is going to be sitting over the Gulf and there's going to be some moisture ride southeastward ahead of that system, and we already have the cold, dry air in place, so that's going to help the precipitation fall in the form of snow. So there could be moderate to locally heavy snowfall in this region of the Panhandle early in the week. But taking a look at, here's one of the forecast snow amounts from the Fairbanks forecast office. This is from Saturday morning through Tuesday night. You can see the heaviest snow is going to fall in this area, the south slopes of the Brooks Range up around Ambler, Shugnik, those areas, 8 to 12 inches, also down toward Hughes along the middle Yukon. We also could see 4 to 6 inches around areas of the Seward Peninsula, maybe 3 or 4 Nome. Unalakleet, 6 to 8 inches. Further south, though, here in the lower Yukon Valley and down toward the Kuskokwim, the air is going to be warm enough that it's going to be mainly maybe a little bit of light freezing rain or rain, because temperatures already along the coast here are at or above freezing, and that warmer air is going to be coming inland. I'll show you that on the temperature map. But as that moist, mild air comes eastward, it's going to encounter the cold air over the interior, and that's why it's going to fall as snow. So the bulk of the snow will fall on the south side of the Brooks Range, especially on up through the middle Yukon and even portions of the Tanana Valley, on the north side of the Alaska Range as we go through this weekend and early Monday and early Tuesday. So best potential for a little bit of freezing rain would be the lower Yukon Valley, especially say Anvik, down towards St. Mary's and up towards Stebbins and areas out over Norton Sound or immediately along the coast. But it's not going to be an ice storm, nothing really heavy, maybe as much as 1/10 of an inch, which is not all that heavy. But nevertheless, we can see on the weather map or satellite imagery, we have the dry, clearer conditions here over the Panhandle thanks to high pressure over the Yukon and Northwest Territories. That high that's been over the Yukon is going to slip southeastward and fill a little bit. Meanwhile, you can see the low circulation here in the western Bering. That's coming eastward. It's going to pass just south of St. Lawrence Island on Sunday early mid-afternoon and then come on shore across Norton Sound into the western interior by prior to daybreak on Monday. And that's what's just forcing this stream of moisture northeastward up into the southwest west coast. And that's why we have the winter weather advisories for these areas of the west and in interior in anticipation of that moisture encountering the colder air. And falling is generally periods of light to occasionally moderate snow. And when you add that up over 2 days, you can get several inches very easily. So we kind of have a pseudo warm front stuck along the Brooks Range north slope. That's just going to kind of wash out, be more of a trough, this kind of occlusion. It's just pumping in generally milder air late tonight into Sunday morning. We have a weak secondary low here over the Gulf, not doing a whole lot now. There's the high pressure, not as strong as it was, but it's going to be working its way southeastward across British Columbia. And this weakening low was once a powerhouse low there off of the Washington-Oregon coast last week. Now, looking into Sunday afternoon, the low continues passing just south of St. Lawrence Island. This front pushing inland and kind of washing out secondary low there out over the western Gulf. By the time we get into Monday, we will have this front pushing through the Alaska Range. That's what's going to bring a round of some snow to the Mat-Su Valley Anchorage Bowl as we go through the day on Monday. At least a few inches of snow. A few spots may get a little more than that, but enough to make perhaps some slipperier roads. And then, of course, getting up around and over the Alaska Range, we're going to find areas of the central eastern interior pushing into the Yukon. There are going to be areas of light to moderate snow that will add up to several inches in some locations. But as these two systems push eastward, this one's going to kind of ride southeastward, and that's what's going to give the potential for some heavier snowfall, the icy Strait Corridor into Juneau late Monday night through Tuesday into Tuesday evening. Snowfall amounts 2 to maybe as much as 10 inches. You get up in a little bit in elevation. So that would be the greatest threat from this system as it heads southeast. But what's going to happen is both these systems move on by. So that opens the door for colder air to be drawn down from the north through midweek leading up to Thanksgiving. So generally a drier weather pattern. Fair and dry and colder should set up over the mainland here as we approach Thanksgiving. Lows tonight, upper teens here in the northern Panhandle. It's chilly. Everybody there below freezing, 20s, mid-20s, outer Panhandle coast. The interior along the Alcan border, still some readings below zero. It was 27 below this morning, Saturday morning at Arctic Village. And again, there'll still be a number of spots below zero in the eastern interior. As we get to the west, notice temperatures are coming up here along the west coast. The lower Yukon going to stop at or just above freezing, and that milder air is gradually going to try to push inland a bit more. You'll see that expanding As we get into Sunday, look, high temperatures west of the Alaska Range surrounding Norton Sound, generally getting above freezing by a couple of few degrees, warmest along the immediate coast. And then as you trail down here along the Aleutians, we expect highs in the 40s. That milder big ridge, warm ridge of high pressure is breaking down, and it's going to kind of fold over to the south and east. So we're not going to see as warm of temperatures coming up, and that's going to prevent any more even warmer air coming further north. So by Monday morning, we find low temperatures throughout the Panhandle, generally in the 20s, not quite as cold as maybe they have been, especially in the north where you're getting down into the teens. Along the Alcan border with the clouds and areas of snow pushing eastward, that's going to keep readings generally single digits above zero and into the teens. Some sub-zero readings here, western north slope along the Chukchi coastline between Utqiagvik and, say, Cape Lisburne. But then lows in the interior, southwest interior, slip just below freezing Monday morning because, again, the air mass is modified as it's crossing through the mainland. But temperatures Monday afternoon, we could see readings around freezing even into the Anchorage Bowl and certainly along the west side and into the southwest interior of the mainland. Temperatures right around or a degree or two above freezing should be common. Warmest readings trailing out from Homer down along Kodiak Island, the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians. You'll have highs above 40 degrees, mid-40s being fairly common. So here's the temperature outlook as we get to November 29th, December 3rd. So that's next week, Friday through next weekend to start off December. Overall, we're looking at below normal temperatures to set up throughout, especially the mainland along the Yukon River Valley, between the Alaska Range and the Brooks Range. We find temperatures near, maybe just slightly above normal northeastern Gulf Coast there west of Yakutat, but overall, no really warm air, not super cold, but cold enough. And a couple systems are going to be coming out of the North Pacific into the Gulf area. So right now it looks like with that kind of pattern, that means northeast, north flow across this part of the state, so drier. That's why we expect precipitation to average below normal over the northwestern half of the mainland. That includes the Seward Peninsula, Norton Sound, Kotzebue Sound. But with lows coming up out of the North Pacific, there's the potential for precipitation to average above normal over the southeast mainland and especially in through the Panhandle here as we begin the month of December.